Shabbat Shalom. Does the date December 7th mean anything to you? Well, I imagine it would depend on how old you are. People in their 70s and 80s and historians for sure would know the significance of this date. If I were to add the year 1941, would you then make a connection to Pearl Harbor Day? The day described by President FDR as a date that shall live in infamy, when 3,000 military personnel were killed and the United States entered into World War II. For the modern generation, date of infamy would probably be September 11th, 9/11, when the US was attacked again and entered into a different kind of war. Well, the Jewish calendar has its own date of infamy. It is the 9th of Av, Tisha B'Av. According to the rabbis, a number of tragedies took place against the Jewish people on that date. It begins with the event in the wilderness. According to the rabbis, as the Israelites were prepared to enter the land of Israel, they didn't have faith. They were punished and had to wander for 38 more years. It's a story we read about in this week's portion of Devarim. The Bible itself describes the destruction of the temples taking place on Tisha B'Av. It is a date that has been ominous for the Jewish people. In fact, seen as including so many tragedies, it impacted throughout generations how people and how the Jewish community looked at this date. So much so that the Nazis utilized this date against the Jews, often scheduling deportations and other actions against the Jews. Already a feeling of helplessness and hopelessness by the Jews. It's a date traditionally in which Jews fast, recite special prayers, and read from the book of Lamentations, which describes the destruction of the first temple. So why should we remember this date of infamy today? So many tragedies that took place so long ago. Well, it's an indication of the history of the Jewish people of being transformed at different moments. Sometimes we're transformed through our own actions, and other times it was the hatred of others. Throughout our history of 3,000 years, we remember those moments, the transformative moments of tragedy. And in spite of them, we survived and we thrived. We figured out how to go forward. Tisha B'Av, which occurs next week, Wednesday night and Thursday. And whether you're attending services or fasting, I want to hopefully have you acknowledge this date of infamy. A date which represents so much in the Jewish calendar. To remember, though, we survive and we thrive. And that's the history of the Jewish people. Wishing you Shabbat Shalom.